Hi everyone, it's Chef Mitosu Crafts. Thank you for joining me today and welcome to the Global Stampin Video Hop. Today, the theme is stylish card and I'll be sharing a card using the Biggest Wish stamp set and some basic tools. So the Biggest Wish stamp set is great as it's got the bold big letters on the top and the scripted words at the bottom as well, which coordinates with the top. So for the basic tools, you'll need paper snips, take your pick tool, one with a score bowl, a bone folder, a ruler, an ink pad. I'm just going to use Memento, but I'll share how to step it up as well, and paper trimmer. For the card base, I've got a basic thick white, just our normal dimension, which is 21 centimeters by 14.6 centimeter. But whatever you have, whatever you're used to, just use that. This card you can adapt to any card sizes, really, and 3 card color cardstock, which are Granny Apple Green, Bermuda Bay, and Pacific Point. So this card design is great for using different color combinations. You can use pinks, purples, or even a rainbow card. But I thought I'm quite drawn to the Granny Apple Green and Pacific Point at the moment, but I wanted to put in a mid-tone, which is the Bermuda Bay. So the paper trimmer is great as it's got the cutting tool and the score tool. So for my card base, I actually cut an A4 piece of card in half and then scored that in half again. Now, I do like using the bone folder just to burnish the spine, just to make sure that that stays flat. And I often do the front and the back as well. So when it's lied down, it doesn't open too much. For these square pieces of card, the measurement is 5.4 centimeters. Now you can go up to 5.5. You might just have a lot of, not a lot, but a bit more offcuts, shall I say. Or that is 2/1/8 of an inch. And we're going to use the paper trimmer to cut it. So stack them all together in 3, or if you're not too confident just yet, you can do it one by one, but I'll do it in 3 for ease. And on either side of the groove of the cutting line, you have these vertical lines. So if you align the top right on the 3rd line and the bottom left on the 3rd line as well, which is 3/4 of an inch or 1.9 centimeters. There we go. So, and we are just going to basically cut that in half or diagonally. And this will be for the edging of our card. Now you can step it up and use some texture stamps or even embossing folder to add different texture and design on these, but I'm gonna keep it simple and keep it like that. So for the card base, we are just basically going to rearrange this so it forms the edge on the card. So when you're rearranging, just bear in mind the edge of the card base. So I'm just gonna make sure when I align the right hand side there that I won't have the white piece at the end. So we're just gonna align that on there and add these on so it's actually butted together. And we're gonna have an edging down. I quite like the zigzag or the pointed edge, but you can put another layer if you don't like that look. So I'm literally just creating a line of colored cardstock. and it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, really. So this is what I'm gonna go with, the design. Now, to keep it in place, it's easier if you do have a pencil, just in case you forget how you have it or it slightly moves. And just double check that there's no white lines on there. So if you stick one first, stick one down, and then just mark slightly the card bases where along the card stock where you want them. But as I said, it's quite a free form card, so and it's got a bit of excess on either side, so you can just stick one down and carry on until you hit the other end. So I'm gonna do that. So I'm just gonna add glue. So also just be aware that you don't want to use a lot of glue and put glue all the way around when you know that it's not going to hit the card. So I'm just adding on the edge of the card and on the edge at the back of this area. So I know that that's going to hit the card and I won't waste the glue, as well as I won't have sticky edging. See, I've already missed my mark. But it's all good. So move on to the next. Hit that bottom one and then the top. And just butt it in. So it's really easy and you can create loads of different color combination as mentioned earlier. We're independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrators based in the UK, so if you live in the UK, France, Germany, Austria, or the Netherlands, you'll be able to purchase current Stampin' Up! Products from our online shop. Do use the current host code, which can be found on our website, to receive a handmade card from us the following month, or any extra gifts if your order qualifies. So once that's done, you just need your paper snips and cut the offcuts. So I normally open the card up and just use the card edge as a guide to cut down your excess. But if you don't want to waste these colored cardstock, you can adhere the colored cards in the center of the card, so you don't have to cut it as well. There we go. So we have our card front. Once that's done, we're going to add some interest on the top. Now you can use embossing folder as mentioned earlier for the panels, or you can use embossing folder for the card base. But if you don't have an embossing folder or cut and emboss machine, if you're just starting out, you can use a stylus or even a bone folder to create some geometric lines. So we're gonna open up the card and use the ruler and the ball tool, and we're just gonna elongate these lines from the card stock, and I'm gonna stop on the spine of the card. So I'm just aligning my ruler along those lines and scoring the white areas. So those is kind of like my starting point, and then you can add more lines. So for example, you can use the edge of here of the card and do it that way, and you know that that's going to hit the top as well. And then just add other lines. So I'm just gonna find a point and then randomly draw a diagonal the other way, and then on here as well on the right hand side. So, and then join those two up. So there's no right or wrong way in doing this, but you just want something to add interest on the top area there. So once that's done, now you can have it like that or like that. We're just gonna stamp our sentiment, and I'm just gonna use the thanks because it's quite small. I'm gonna have it portrait wise, and I'm gonna use Memento with basic white card. I'm just gonna stamp that in Memento. Now I have just re-inked this ink pad, so it will be juicy. There you go. So it's a lot darker. Normally it's quite light, but I quite like that. And we're just gonna trim that using, again, the paper trimmer, or you can just have it as is. It's quite big, and I did smudge it, but that's fine. It makes it look handmade, and I think that's quite straight. So another tip for you is if you do find that you've got smaller piece of card and it's not staying in place, do use a sticky note just to hold one end and then cut. But this one's quite big. It's big enough that you can keep that in place. And I'm just gonna cut that down to size. That looks okay. Maybe a sliver off the end here. There we go. So this one, we're just gonna add on there with dimensional. Now, if you have some coordinating colors, you can use that as well. So you have Bermuda Bay, Pacific Point, or Granny Apple Green. But I quite like the bold black letters on here. So I'm just gonna keep that. So I'm gonna use a foam pad. This is a Stampin' Dimensional. And I'm just gonna add those on. There. And the Take Your Pick tool does come with another pointy picker. What's it called? Yeah, it's piercer, I guess. It's quite sharp, so you just need to take that off. There we go, and I'm just gonna make sure that that is straight, or you can do it at a slight angle. You can use a longer piece of card. Actually, I'm gonna do it this way. And stamp and repeat stamp the sentiment. But that is the card. Now to embellish it, I do have the brush metallic adhesive back dots, and I'm just gonna add that on. You can use the sharp end or the putty as well for your embellishment. And I'm just gonna add, let's go with gold. Two on the end here, but of course you can add more if preferred. So that is my stylish card idea for the Global Stampin Video Hop, with basic tools and the Biggest Wish stamp set. You can step it up as mentioned earlier with some heat embossing. So if you have the heat tool and white stamp emboss powder, and that one was just done on basic black card, you can see the scored on, hopefully you can, scored on the top piece as well. Or if you want to use different colors, I've also done it in Flirty Flamingo, Melon Mambo, and Rich Raspberry. And I use black cardstock just for another layer. So this is actually on white card and it's just got a black layer on top. And again, heat emboss the sentiment, but using the script words, using the brushed metallic adhesive there. And as you can see, I've added more height onto the top here. And that's just achieved by adding dimensional on one end and sticking the other end using multi-purpose liquid glue, so you can add more interest to your card. I hope you enjoy these card ideas, and do let me know in the comments below which one is your favorite, whichever colors, or do you prefer the heat emboss sentiment, or what colors will you be using for your card. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so. Check the description below for the product list, as well as the next Global Stampin video in the hop. Thanks again for joining me today. Until next time, bye!